What are the most common bookkeeping challenges faced by ABA practices?
I guess the one thing I wanted to touch on too is the basis of accounting, right? That comes up, and when I have calls with owners, sometimes they're not aware of the differences, and there is even a difference in basis of accounting. So there's cash basis and accrual basis, and they're very different, especially with this industry and how the information is presented. Under cash basis, transactions are recorded as they happen, right? So as money is received, as money is paid out. Very similar to your bank account, right? Ins and outs, that's when everything gets recorded. On accrual basis, it looks more at when the activity takes place that causes a financial result. So being that when income is earned or expenses are incurred. Now, the primary difference that shows in the profit and loss for ABA companies is really the matching of income and expenses, right? In this industry, it's common to see a delay in payment, right? From when the date of the service being performed to when you receive the payment. You may perform the service on a Wednesday. It may not be billed out until later in the week or the next week. So you've already got that delay. And then there's delay between billing and when you receive it. So there could be this 30 to 60-day delay between when you perform it and when you receive the money. Now, you're still paying someone to perform the service. You're paying an RBT, you're paying a BCBA. That cost is being paid at a particular time. So, for example, if you received a deposit from Aetna today for 4 hours of 97153, that was provided in January. On a cash basis, you would record that as income in February, the day it's received. But the payroll cost for the paid to perform those services would have been recorded in January. So there's a mismatch. There's no true matching of expenses against income. Now, on an accrual basis, it's a little different where those services would have been recorded as income in January, which would then align with that payroll cost in January. And the key difference here is that there's a potentially misleading representation of the business, right? Dependent on your collections and also your pay cycle. So if on a cash basis, you may have 1 month with great collections and your profit and loss look great. You have a huge profit. The next month, your collections are down. Maybe you had 3 pay runs that were paid in that month and you have a huge loss. How you can appropriately, monitor and assess, okay, how well is the business performing on that basis is very difficult, because there's so many external factors that are impacting, you can't really truly see how profitable the business is.
Yeah, this is what makes you guys so amazing. And I'm so excited that you're here because, and I wish that you were around 12 years ago or that I
If
knew
you
about
were,
you
yes.
guys. If you were, I wish we would have known about you then. Because that's the biggest piece that a lot of professionals don't understand. When you go to an accountant or financial advisement of any sort, right? They don't get that piece.
Right.
And so we used to call it insurance land, like what money is out there in insurance land. And it took us years to get a handle on how to even plan, like how to budget and how to plan for that. And there was all that constant insecurity of how are we going to pay our staff and make sure we have enough money for those months that it takes a little longer to get your payments from insurance. So I'm just really grateful that you guys are doing what you are doing, because we need this for sure.
Yeah. And then you speak our language,
You
right?
do.
Like
You
that's
do.
Yeah, we're well aware of all the codes and the intricacies of the billing side and how that flows through. As you say, dealing with delays in payment in the beginning of the year, where you have more patient responsibility, you have deductibles, co-pays, co-insurance that you're having to deal with, and resetting insurance is, as you say, cash flow is kind of a concern at that time. So having sufficient balances at the end of the year to cover that shortage potentially of cash flow in the beginning of the year to ensure that you're covering payroll and until you're collecting that money.